vision for change is to have a safe and secure country for our citizens.
President Buhari reiterates commitment of the governing APC to fulfill its promise of taking Nigeria to the next level. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria Aviation Security apprehends an intruder found in the propeller.
It will also foster the achievement of the goal of human-centered approach to the future of work.
ECOWAS Ministers of Labour adopt 2 key declarations on minimum standards and decent work in the sub-region as 3-day social dialogue ends in Abuja.
Incredible. Did you see what happened there? The deflection's taken the ball.
Plus, Algeria lifts trophy as Africans champions after 29 years. Good evening and welcome to the Network News on the NTA. I am Jummai Yusuf. Reading with me tonight from Lagos is Jennifer Igwe. Thanks for joining us. We begin with President Muhammadu Buhari once again assuring Nigerians that the governing APC under his watch will neither let them down nor fail to fulfill its promise of taking the country to the next level. This was while receiving an audience MBO Dynamic Support Group on a solidarity visit. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the report.
One nation, one freedom.
The NBO Dynamic Support Group is one of the various associations that charted a supportive course towards the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari for a second term of office. The members from across Nigeria are here to seek the president's approval for the group to transmute into what they call MBO Cares Foundation as a platform for empowerment, education, and support services for the downtrodden.
As we journey into the next level, it is important to simplify the contents of this agenda, which inform our decision to propose a summit on achieving the next level agenda challenges and prospects. It is our hope that will avail us your endorsement of this laudable event.
The Dynamic Support Group has consequently taken steps towards bridging the gap between the government and the governed by developing citizen government information flow to help the Buhari administration scale up its policies and programs for greater public appreciation and support.
We want to emphasize that our readiness to become an asset to your administrations. MBO parade quality members of professionals who have excelled in various fields of endeavors that will impact this administration next level project positively. We therefore request that you give consideration to these noble men and women who promise we will never let you down, Your Excellency.
President Muhammadu Buhari appreciated the Dynamic Support Group for demonstrating high sense of patriotism, responsibility, and commitment to the ideals of the Change Nigeria enterprise, assuring the members that their sacrifices will not be in vain.
Our vision for change is to have a safe and secure country for our citizens, a vibrant and inclusive economy that provides jobs and livelihood for our young and energetic population, and of course, a governance system that is free of corruption, a system where any Nigerian has the same opportunity as the next one. This is what we campaigned on in 2015. This is what we invested in during our first term, and this is what we shall continue to promote, protect, and preserve in our second term.
The president urged his guests as leaders in their respective communities to take back home this message of renewed hope and commitment to a greater Nigeria.
It is not about politics, religion, or tribe. It is about having a Nigeria where our families will be safe and our children will have plentiful opportunities to earn a living and have comfortable lives.
President Buhari described as pleasing some of the ideas proffered by the group, which he promised will be reviewed properly for possible consideration. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Media organizations in the country have been tasked to exhibit high sense of responsibility and patriotism in the discharge of their mandate as a deliberate attempt towards bringing to an end the devastating consequences of the fake news phenomenon in the nation's body polity. President Muhammadu Buhari threw the challenge while granting audience to the board of directors and management team of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has details.
With the advent of internet, computers, mobile phones and other similar communication devices, President Buhari said information technology is now the order of the day. He is, however, worried that this enabler for societal advancement is more and more being used to instigate violence and hate.
Nowhere is this disturbing trend more apparent than in the various media platforms where fake news gaining momentum is being used to divide and destabilize communities and indeed nations around the world. We see images being manipulated to give legitimacy to lies. We hear voices on radio preaching falsehood and hatred. We also read stories sponsored by individuals who stand to gain at the expense of truth, peace, and harmony.
The future of journalism profession, he believes, is under threat with the growing increase in fake news and therefore challenge practitioners to take far-reaching measures towards safeguarding professionalism as well as their reputation.
In the case of Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, you must proactively develop programs based on truth, facts, and on broader national interest. You should also have strategies to react to fake information and sensitize our citizens not to believe stories at face value, especially when the source is unknown or not credible, or where supporting facts are not available.
The chairman board of directors of the FRCN, Malam Aliyu Hayatu, had congratulated President Buhari on his re-election and assured him of the corporation's unwavering commitment towards the success of the next level agenda by discharging its broadcast obligations professionally and efficiently. This, he said, can only be done effectively if the FRCN has transmission capability as well as the ability to be heard in every nook and cranny of Nigeria.
FRCN requires a transmission capability that can be heard loud and clear after a distance of about 1,500 kilometers or more, so that the reception in Badagry, Maiduguri, Port Harcourt and Sokoto can be adequate and efficient. What obtains presently, Mr. President, is an FM transmission capability, which does not go beyond 150 kilometers.
He made a case for enhanced budgetary allocation to the corporation, which he, however, said should not be seen as a business venture that is expected to provide immediate returns.
Funding FRCN must be seen as addressing a security challenge which aims at bringing government closer to the people, with the aims of averting the hijacking of the thoughts and consciousness of Nigerians by foreign radio broadcast.
Malam Hayatu said it is not impossible for the FRCN to favorably compare with the best radio networks in the world now competing for the soul and mind of Nigerians. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
From the presidency to other matters, the Nigerian Air Force says it will expand its capacity in the production of uniforms for personnel to meet the presidential directive for the Nigerian Armed Forces to sew and patronize local fabrics. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar stated this during a working visit to Kaduna. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachukun reports.
To ensure self-sufficiency and reduce the burden of importation, the Nigerian Air Force, under the leadership of the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, established a tailoring workshop in Kaduna to produce uniforms for serving officers and staff of the force. More than 6,000 uniforms have been produced by the workshop. Impressed by the level of progress at the workshop, the Chief of the Air Staff said its production capacity will be expanded.
Based on the directive, what more can we do to enhance the capacity of this facility here to produce what we want? They are producing uniforms now. We are looking at flying suits. We want to see how we can get flying suits here. We want to see how we can get technician suits and some other uniform, items that are required in the service.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Air Force has immortalized 2 of its gallant flying officers, led Air Commodore Adanu Gabriel Ochai and led Flying Lieutenant Colonel Paul Kilofas, who died in active service with the inauguration of 3-bedroom flats for married officers.
Professionalism is about having the right structure. It's also about ensuring that capacity of personnel or lack of capacity is addressed.
Also inaugurated was a set of 1-bedroom flats for single air officers. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun, NTA News.
Still on security, the Nigerian Army has confirmed the killing of a colonel, a captain and 3 soldiers by Boko Haram insurgents in Borno State. The Deputy Director, Public Relations Operation Lafia Dole, Colonel Isa Ado, who gave the confirmation in a statement, noted that the incident occurred on Wednesday in Jakana area of Borno State, when the officers and soldiers who were on transit from Maiduguri to Damaturu were ambushed. Troops of 212 Battalion deployed at Forward Operating Base Jakana responded by neutralizing unconfirmed members of the Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists on a mission to infiltrate the military base to Ghana logistics. During the encounter, 1 anti-aircraft gun, 2 rocket-propelled grenades, RPG tubes, 2 AK-47 rifles, 15 machine gun rounds and 12 AK-47 NATO rounds were recovered from the terrorists who fled in disarray. The Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Burate, commiserated with the families of the fallen heroes, reiterating that the Army will not be deterred in the ongoing patriotic fight against terrorism in the Northeast. The presidency has appealed to the El-Zazaki-led Shiite members to desist from needless violent street protests that often result to violence and fatalities as they await the judgment of the court, since the case is currently on trial in Kaduna. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the destruction of public property, taking over of public roads and cities, as the group has done in Abuja, and interfering with the rights of other citizens who are prevented from reaching their destination, will not have been tolerated by any government. While the administration is determined to enforce the decision of the court, it is also worth noting that the rallies and street dances ostensibly to openly insult the president and other leaders, strengthening bloodshed, will lead nowhere. But the presidency will not ask the judiciary to abandon due process and set a suspect free. The statement reads that the Buhari administration has absolutely no hand in the ongoing trial, and the courts are free to determine the bail request and the final outcome. As such, the mentality of the shared group that they are above the law and their rights are superior to other citizens' rights is unacceptable. The group is advised to be law-abiding citizens, embrace peace and engage in dialogue so that the country will continue to live in peace while the trial of the sect leader takes its course. Now to the judiciary. The People's Democratic Party and its candidate Atiku Abubakar this Friday closed their case at the Presidential Election Petitions Court. The petitioners are challenging the victory of President Muhammadu Buhari in the February 23rd presidential election. Dele Atumbi reports.
This Friday marks the 10th and the last day that the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Atiku Abubakar have to present their case before the Presidential Election Petition Court sitting in Abuja. Matters relating to the election of the president and that of the vice president in Nigeria fall within the original jurisdiction of the Court of Appeal in line with Section 239 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The petitioners called 62 witnesses, including 2 experts, in data analysis, improving their case. They equally tendered several documents, improving their matter. At this Friday's hearing, the petitioners, through their counsel, Chris Uche, SAN, called 2 experts. Counsel to President Muhammadu Buhari, Wole Olanipekun, SAN, and Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, counsel to the APC, objected to the calling of the 2 experts to give evidence. The two counsel to the respondents reserve reasons for their objections till their final addresses. The experts, in their opinions, told the court that the Independent National Electoral Commission purportedly has 4 websites. During cross-examination, one of the experts told the court that it was yet to be certified. Another witness admitted before the court that he voted in the presidential election having been properly accredited through the use of smart card reader. Apart from tendering additional documents relating to the conduct of presidential election in Kano State, the petitioners also tendered all the documents which INEC recently availed them. The petitioners are challenging the conduct of the presidential election in 11 states in the North Central, Northeast and Northwest geopolitical zones of the country. INEC is to open its defense as the first respondent in the matter by 29th July 2019. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News on the NTA Live in Abuja. Let's take a break for some commercials. The news continues shortly. Do stay.
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need...
20th, seminars and workshop, Sunday, 31st July, Thanksgiving service, time 9 a.m., venue 5, Cadastral Zone BT of American International School Road, Durumi District, Gariki, Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Nigeria. The real men in Christ. God is our refuge and strength.
Thanks for staying. The president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Reverend Samson Ayokunle, has called for peaceful coexistence among Nigerians. He made the call at its inauguration for a second tenure with his deputy, Reverend Caleb Alima. He urged all socio-cultural groups to ensure their members eschew violence to encourage unity, trust and check insecurity, which is top priority of the federal government. Ayokunle, in his inaugural speech, thanked God and the leadership of CAN for their support and asked for prayers and more support from all for the success of the association and the country at large. Meanwhile, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, has reassured Nigerians, particularly Christians, that there is no plan by any person or ethnic group to Islamize Nigeria. Speaking at the 11th General Assembly of the Christian Association of Nigeria, which held at the National Christian Center, Abuja, Boss Mustafa urged Christians to pray fervently for the Buhari administration to overcome all security challenges.
I wish to affirm that this next level government is more determined to fight religious fundamentalism and insurgency with greater political will and military action. Fundamentalist activities have been drastically curtailed, and those found culpable are being brought before the courts of law.
The national president of CAN, His Eminence Samson Ayokunle, at the event offered special prayers for peace and progress in the country. The quest for good governance and youth empowerment has gained one more with the launch of the Nicholas Oko Foundation, great child of the primate of all Nigeria Anglican Communion. Victor Azu reports that his book, Neither by Might Nor by Power, was also presented to the public, with former leaders extolling his virtues.
It's work hours on a work day, but this hall is full to capacity, oozing the warmth which matches the affection of those who have come to celebrate the life of Nicholas Oko. National leaders, clergymen, family and friends all united in their esteem for a remarkable man.
He has certainly been a true man of God who had served the Anglican Church of Nigeria so well.
He has done well. He has led us well in the Anglican Communion.
Approaching the end of his tenure as primate, Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, and not yet tired, Most Reverend Nicholas Oko sets up the Nicholas Oko Foundation as a platform to promote good leadership and foster responsive and ethical governance.
In the name of God the Father, God the Son.
Not done. His book, Not by Might Nor by Power, draws attention to the yawning gap between religious profession and the contradictory ungodliness which characterizes relations between individuals in Nigeria.
It is the failure between what Christians say they are and what they do or simply a failure between their faith professed and their faith lived.
Most Reverend Nicholas Oko was born in 1952 at Owalero, Delta State. He joined the Nigerian Army in 1969, rising to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. He retired in 2001 when he was elected Bishop of Asaba Diocese. He later served as Archbishop of the Bendel Province until 2010 when he was elected Primate of all Nigeria, Anglican Communion.
I want to continue my work as a man of God, to be able to support people.
As the former chairman, Primate's Council of the Global Anglican Future Conference, GAFCON, gradually calls time on an illustrious career, the nation will remember his services as a member of the National Peace Committee and former chairman of the Nigerian Christian Pilgrim Commission. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Ministers of Labour of ECOWAS region have adopted two key declarations on minimum standards towards harmonization of labour laws in the ECOWAS region and the ECOWAS Regional Programme for Decent Work. These declarations arising from the three-day deliberations by delegates on Social Dialogue Forum on the ECOWAS region are expected to be forwarded to heads of government for adoption. Emmanuel Anyimiro reports.
The two declarations on minimum standards and ECOWAS regional program for decent work is to enable ECOWAS Commission put in place regional mechanism that will facilitate and enhance social integration of their citizens, create conditions for decent work, and regulate member states without xenophobia and other forms of discrimination.
It will also foster the achievement of the goal of human-centered approach to the future of work, which puts workers' rights and needs, aspirations, and rights of all people at the heart of economic, social, and environmental policies.
I therefore appeal to all of us to demonstrate renewed commitment and passion in the implementation of these programs to engender integration in the sub-region, especially in the area of labor administration.
Indeed, the holding of this meeting this week and the Social Dialogue Forum has illustrated the commitment of the tripartite partners in ECOWAS to work together and build a better future for decent work in West Africa.
Recently, the 108th session of the International Labour Organization in Geneva, Switzerland, at the centenary, adopted new labour standards to combat violence and harassment at work, which ECOWAS also emulated. With this adoption, ECOWAS sub-region is expected to start the implementation of African Continental Free Trade Agreement on a good footing, where workers' rights will be guaranteed. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria Aviation Security has apprehended an intruder found in the propeller of Azman Airlines set to depart Lagos for Port Harcourt this morning. A statement from the General Manager, Corporate Affairs, Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, Henrietta Yakubu, says the aircraft was waiting for clearance from air traffic controllers when the pilot sighted the man and promptly reported. The aircraft later departed after a thorough check to ascertain its safety, and authorities have intensified security surveillance in airports across the country to forestall reoccurrence. Meanwhile, FAN has suspended indefinitely the aviation security heads on duty pending investigation into the regrettable security infringement. Let's now join Jennifer in Lagos for more reports in that zone. Hello, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jummai, and welcome to Lagos. As part of efforts to digitalize the nation's Aeronautical Information Service, AIS, the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency has commenced the installation of prefabricated pilot joint briefing offices nationwide. When operational, the office will provide a one-stop shop at the airside where crew members can obtain AIS briefing, meteorological information, and make necessary payments at a single point in compliance with International Civil Aviation Organization ICAO standard and recommended practices. Elizabeth Ewuga reports.
One overriding priority of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NAMA, is the provision of reliable communication link between the air traffic controller and the flying pilot in all flight. Communication infrastructure has remained serviceable, just as the agency keeps intensifying efforts to ensure the quality improves in line with international best practice. The latest installation to enhance seamless and sustainable communication is a prefabricated pilot joint briefing offices.
The need was, okay, we wanted to put equipment in one place and get pilots to be able to get briefed and get information and give us information.
Other far-reaching steps taken by NAMA to enhance effective communication, especially in the upper airspace, include installation of extended VHF radio system to replace all radios at remote sites. The managing director of NAMA says the Nigerian airspace is safe as radio communication in the ground control covering 65 nautical miles at the 32 air traffic control units in Nigeria is perfect. He also disclosed that the approach communication covering up to 130 nautical miles is working perfectly in all the 32 air traffic control units in the country.
Our airspace is safe. The professionals on the field, they have all continued to work hard to make our airlines safe and our airspace safe.
He expressed gratitude to the federal government for its support and intervention leading to the final clearance of the agency's VSAT equipment at their Papa port. In Lagos, Elizabeth Ewuga, NTN News.
Now, the need to institute and project a true leadership prize for Nigerians that will inspire people to lead selflessly for their communities and humanity has been stressed. This was at the inauguration of the Nigerian Prize for Leadership in Lagos. Tunde Saiki has details.
Over the years, poor leadership has been recognized to be the bane of nations. Hence, the urgent need for an intervention through raising of high-quality leaders. This can be achieved through education, mentoring, training, and discipline. And as such, identify such personalities has become imperative. This informed the initiative and the search for such persons.
Conceptualize and put in place a leadership culture based on reinventing the essence, beauty, integrity, resourcefulness, tradition, and heritage of Nigerian shared values.
The prize is envisaged to be the highest, most reliable, and prestigious single leadership prize in the country. It will target Nigerians of all ages who have shown credible, exemplary, remarkable, and sustainable success, prowess, creativity, and skills in their various endeavors through compelling personal, corporate, and social values.
The people down at the grassroots, some of them exhibit excellent leadership qualities, but they are not captured. We hope through the selection process we are developing, they will be considered, they will be captured, and will promote and show to the nation the kind of leadership that is transforming people, transforming society.
There will be committees, and the younger generation will definitely be incorporated in these committees. So they will be involved in the process that will lead to the emergence of the type of leadership that will serve as role model.
The Nigerian Prize for Leadership, which is private sector driven, has its 14 board members drawn from all fields of human endeavors, while funding is expected to come through grants, support, and donations. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Thank you, Tunde. This is NTA Network News. More reports after this commercial break. Please stay tuned.
Hey, now me I go ask and say, why all of us go pay 100,000 naira? Say your husband, he won't do 70th birthday. She now all of us marry him together. Hey, when her mama died, she collects
orderly, regular, and dignified way, and not in a dangerous and tortuous manner.
This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons.
Welcome back. Since the signing of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, there have been growing concerns on both the positive and negative implications of the agreement. To address this, the Chartered Institute of Financial and Investment Analysts held a press conference in Abuja to enlighten the public on its benefits. Ruth Agwele tells us more.
For some time now, there has been different perspectives from some experts appraising the federal government for signing the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. as it will promote economic integration in the African continent, build new frontiers to explore more investment opportunities between African countries, aid free movement of persons and capital towards a sustained economic development. As negotiations are ongoing on actualizing the AFCFTA, the Chartered Institute of Financial and Investment Analysts is working towards sensitizing the public on the benefits inherent in the free trade agreement.
The African Continental Free Trade Agreement presents opportunity for the expansion of existing markets, entrance into new markets, frontiers, and expansion of investments in Nigeria.
The motive here is to ensure easy domestication of the AFCFTA, reduce the cost of doing business, promote local industries in terms of capacity building, and empower small and medium enterprises.
Not just trading in anything now. It has to be Nigerian-made goods. And because you are trading more in Nigerian-made goods, you are also increasing the productive capacity of our industrial base.
However, it is the belief here that the AFCFTA will build stronger bond between African countries to make the free trade agreement a reality. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
The federal government has been urged to put in place appropriate policies and guidelines to advance the utilization of family planning methods in Nigeria to reverse the rapid population growth as well as fast-track family planning 2020 goal. This was the center of dialogue for health experts at the first Professor Babatunde Oshotime National Reproductive Health Legacy Forum in Ibadan. Correspondent Shola Wahid tells us more.
With a 2019 estimated population of over 200 million people in Nigeria and an annual population growth rate of 2.6%, the country's population is estimated to reach 543 million by the year 2050 and will become the third most populous country after China and India. By implication, social vices such as armed robbery, cultism, kidnapping, and other security challenges faced by the country is attributed to lack of family planning to address upsurge in population explosion. This informed the topic, Family Planning 2020 Goal within Nigeria.
If we do not encourage the use of contraception for healthy timing and spacing of births, we will continue to have children by chance and not by choice.
Deliberations at this meeting would give us a roadmap to the future.
With regards to our commitment to Family Planning 2020 agenda and how Nigeria can go forward.
And so I would say that we are not there where we should be in Nigeria.
He has worked tirelessly to support, promote reproductive health services in Nigeria.
An African Journal of Medicine and Medical Services was launched in the memory of late Professor Babatunde Oshotime, who was one time the Minister of Health, Director General of the National Agency of the Control of HIV and AIDS, among other national and international appointments. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
The upsurge of rape cases in Nigeria has become a thing of concern, and the Nigerian society is at alert than ever about protecting themselves, especially children, from sexual violence. Security detectives are now trained to get information from victims in order to crack down on the inhuman act and bring the culprits to justice. As guest on Good Morning Nigeria weigh in on ways to tackle the menace, Abdul Karim Mohammed Zurmi reports.
Lust, sadism, power, and revenge were advanced as some of the motivations behind rape cases in Nigeria and across the world. Victimization, psychological and emotional scars, sexually transmitted diseases, and unwanted pregnancies were equally highlighted as unfortunate consequences of rape.
I think it is high time our lawmakers reviewed our laws, particularly when it comes to the issue of the definition of rape. Our legal definition of rape in Nigeria is damn too narrow.
Yes. Rape predators come from all walks of life. Even in families and for fear of stigmatization, victims refrain from coming out to share and condemn the atrocity, a sad reality which has to change.
It is in places of high density. And another factor is this, we confuse the children. You know, everybody is not uncle There are so many reasons that you don't even understand what is happening and why people are going into raping women and children. It's an alarming situation.
Victims are encouraged to break their silence as a first step to rid the society of this dilemma and seek the necessary help needed to heal their psyche. In Abuja, Abdul Karim Mohammed Zurmi, NTA News.
Sokoto is our next stop on Network News, and Sadia is our guide.
Good evening and welcome to Sokoto. The United Kingdom is to expand collaboration with Sokoto State Government on human development areas of concern. Labta Abdullahi reports that the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Mrs. Patriano Lane, stated this at the Government House in Sokoto.
The United Kingdom is to work with the state government on economic development, security and education. Head of the British High Commission in Nigeria, Patriano Lane, gave the assurance while on a courtesy visit to Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal.
Nigeria is absolutely our top priority, and within Nigeria, Sokoto remains a really important historic partner for us, and one we want to, as I said, build and deepen the relationship.
Tambuwal sought for UK's support in improving the economy of the state, which has untapped mineral deposits and agricultural potentials useful to investors. In another development, the United States Agency for International Development is now focusing on food security and tackling security challenges in Sokoto State.
We look ahead as having a strong humanitarian arm. We try to anticipate where there may be challenges ahead so that we can help, hopefully, to ward off any challenges, but also to be prepared in those.
The inclusion of matters of food sufficiency and security by the USAID would be of great benefit to the government and the people of Sokoto State.
We're doing everything humanly possible as a government, first to ensure that we stem the tide and ensure that we restore peace in those communities.
Improving security at the worst affected local government areas will enable farmers cultivate their farmlands, particularly communities along the Zamfara state border who suffer common bandits attacks. In Sokoto, Lalata Abdullahi, NTA News.
Sokoto State Government has warned security volunteers and vigilante groups in the state to stop taking laws into their hands. Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal gave the warning in Goronyo town while condoling families of victims of bandits' attack in Dantasako community in Goronyo local government area. Abdrahman Usman Jibrila has details.
Attack in Dantasako village in Goronyo local government area claimed 29 lives. Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal said the state government is currently negotiating with some of the suspected bandits to bring an end to insecurity across the state. The state government, he said, is also re-strategizing along with all security outfits in the state towards protecting the lives and property of the people. The governor called on security volunteers, vigilante groups and other stakeholders to follow the proper channel of reporting any suspicious character to the appropriate authority. Governor Tambuwal, while condoling the families of the deceased, called on them to see the act as the will of Allah. District Head of Goronyo, Muhammad Sambo Usman, assured the governor of their readiness to complement efforts of government towards bringing lasting peace to the communities, calling for urgent intervention of government in assisting the affected families. Prayers were offered for the repose of souls of the deceased. In Sokoto, Abdrahman Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
It's now time for another commercial break. Network News continues shortly.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Thanks for staying. The Desert Foxes of Algeria have won the Egypt 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, defeating Senegal in the final match. Over now to Victor Azu for details on AFCON updates.